Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Here's the deal. I'm recording this while my throat is not feeling so bad. It kind of hurts, but it's not feeling too painful now. So I figured I'd go ahead and get this recording in now. First, let me give a shout out to S Jacques for coming through on the CashApp again. And then I want to give a shout out to not only CelebriD Podcast, but also to the two who helped her out, Gayle and Shanna. I want all of them to get the credit due to them, as I stated previously. She said, CelebriD did say that she would not have what she had it not been for at least Gayle. At least Gayle. Gayle's not allowed to talk about it, I guess. But I'm allowed to give all three of them credit proportional to what roles they played in getting Roda Osman charged and now on the run. Let me state this. Roda Osman reminds me to also give a shout out to this other YouTuber based Muslim, formerly known as Fulla Sports. Based Muslim stated, as I did a long time ago, that we'll never get our apologies, ever. It's not happening. And the reason we will not get them is that their hatred is more important than being right. They're more concerned about hatred than they are concerned about being correct, just, fair, accurate, honest. Back when we were saying that the evidence already showed that she did not get hit with a brick, certainly not the time and place in which she said she was, they still doubled down and would not apologize. And I don't know if it's true, but I heard that even Willie D would not say, dang, we were wrong. In the end, I'm going to tell you all that Roda's a smokescreen now. See, just like you've got these really wild hyenas like Cynthia G, who lower the bar for otherwise well-behaved women and artificially inflate their value by comparison and contrast alone, so that they don't have to actually be adequately well-behaved. Roda Osman has done the same thing for Somali women. Many would never go as far as her. Witchcraft, single motherhood. Without a marriage, as far as we know. Many would not go that far. Getting a BBL, many would not. Hitting men that she doesn't know that never did anything to her. Most would not go that far. They're not trying to shake your hand if you're not related to them. Those are the rules of the religion. So most Somali women don't want to go that far. Now, are they strong? Yes. And are they strong-willed? Yes. And do they pride themselves too much on being tough? Yes, absolutely they do. They really do. And that's part of why I look at some of them and I'm like, sometimes I want to say to a few of them, would you fuck the shuck up and fit the suck down? And I don't have to say stuff like this to my wife. But, guys here who might, guys in this part of the world who might prey on Arab women traveling without men with them, would not pick on two Somali women. They would not try their luck with two Somali women, two of them. They know they will get hit in the head and get that beat down. They understand that. Now, there's a time and place for the women to act like this. But I'm going to tell you that they don't listen. There was a man from the States who told one of my wife's friends, do not go walking by yourself. Now, this was during COVID when you had times you were allowed to go out and walk for exercise, but there was a curfew. And he said to her, don't do that. Don't go out by yourself. Take one of the ladies with you. He only said that for her own good. What did she do? She went walking by herself. One day, a guy followed her in his car. Yeah, it's like that. She's not a mean woman, but she's just, fiercely independent and with no rancor or hatred towards men. That's how she is. So there is that. She's from the UK. Somali women in the West now have the bar lowered by someone like Roda Osman. And most, like I said, most don't know who she is because she's that bad. You think that would make them know who she is. That's not necessarily how it works for them. But there are other women that do things so scandalous that it lowers the bar for them. In the West, in their diaspora. And this is why you have the phenomena of the Somali passport bros as well going to Morocco. They're not leaving Somalia to go there. They're leaving Western nations with Somali communities to go to Morocco to marry because the Western-raised Somali women are going to give them hell in a particular way, and the ones back in the home country are going to give them hell. They're going to say, well, you can't lead me. You can't do nothing for me because I'm from here and you're not. You just came back. So I call the shots. And then the ones that live in the West are going to be like, well, you don't have nothing, so you can't lead me, so I call the shots. So they're looking and they're saying, well, if it's going to be all of this, we'll go to Morocco. Because if we are making the effort, then those ladies are generally going to appreciate it. See, one of the things about Moroccan women is that they don't necessarily seek to leave Morocco only to go to the West. They don't necessarily mind going elsewhere outside the West either. If you're comfortable there, they're fine with it. So with that being said, I know about this phenomenon because my wife's nephew married a Moroccan woman recently, about a month ago. That's how I know. I didn't know that this was going to be a phenomena until a few days ago. My wife and I actually had a debate about this. She wanted me to go to Morocco, and I told her, I'm giving you permission to go, but don't ask me to go to Morocco. I told you I already insulted the king last time I was there. Nothing's going to happen. They don't even know. And I told her, you don't know what the kind of stuff they find out. They are thorough in all the wrong ways. They are thorough. When it comes to bureaucracy and you getting things done, they're slow. Wait a minute. They're stupid. They ignore you. They don't need, all of that. But when it comes to what the government wants to impose and enforce, they are very quick and thorough. No, I'm not going because I'll get there. They'll see my passport. They'll see something on the screen. All of a sudden, they'll be really organized and I'll be picked up. I'm not doing that. Don't ask me that again. I wouldn't even fly through Morocco if I could help it. Absolutely not. I told them, don't ever ask me that. Stop. We wound up not getting time off of work, either of us, really. But there was that. There was that wedding, that matrimony they sought. They got married. Her nephew and his fiance got married. Now, she has a British passport, I believe. But nonetheless, he went that route. He did not marry from amongst his own. And what's the reason? Why did he skip over when they got all these marriage networks? It's real simple. Because the Somali women raised in the West are problematic. I've known that for years. And then back home, they present their own set of problems. Can they listen? They probably can, but not as much as other nationalities. On top of that, either you get them out of the country, which means go to the West where you were already struggling, and she becomes like them, or you stay there in the country, in your homeland, but she's like, well, because you just came back, you're not really from here, you don't know what's going on, so I don't have to listen. I call the shots. Oh, it's hard. It's rough. They're not making it easy. And they have been writing confessionals in some cases to anonymous columnists and things like that. They've been trifling for years. And it was a friend of mine, a divorcee, that once called me on Facebook Messenger and told me, listen, Black, in the Somali group that you join on Facebook, they're roasting you, making fun of you. She said, they think you're trying to simp for a Somali woman. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense, because after seeing how they act, I wouldn't entertain them. I wouldn't consider that. And she said they don't know that. Simply because they would say dumb things about, like they would ridicule a man for marrying two wives, but then they would talk about cheating on their husbands because they were doing these things and taking a liberal attitude towards these things. Like cheating on a husband does not warrant judgment from other people who know about it, but a man marrying more than one wife, which is allowed in Islam, warrants judgment from those who know about it, and he's to be roasted. I'd say, okay, you all got it backwards. This is not our religion is against it. For me saying that, which I'm supposed to do in response to what I saw, they were starting to say to each other, well, this Black dude over here is simping. He wants a Somali chick. I was like, I don't even see how that would work. Funny thing is, I wound up marrying my wife. That is purely between us. That ain't got to do with her culture. In other words, I didn't marry her because she's Somali. I didn't know she was Somali when I first met her. I married her even though she's Somali. Just like she didn't marry me. Because I'm light skinned. She married me even though I'm light skinned. She wasn't looking for that. She was never looking for something like me in the beginning. She didn't even expect to find me as attractive as she has. The last thing I'm going to tell you all is that this gender war is shifting. It's not shrinking. In the States, it might be shrinking, but globally it's shifting. And here's why I'm going to say that. Number one, you already see what's happening in Somali communities. There is a push factor. Brothers are not going back home to Somalia to get married. They are flying to Morocco. The second thing I want you all to understand is that there's a Saudi student who studied in California, I believe, and he was killed by stabbing. He was found actually in a woman's apartment bathtub. Neighbors said that she asked him to help her move some stuff or something, and he went, and then he was gone, and she was acting suspicious, and then he was found in a bathtub, stabbed. My current student told me that he knew the guy. It was 2021 or 2022 when this murder happened. You and I know, you know better than me, what the climate was like during that time. This was after Kevin Samuels had gone mainstream. What were a lot of brothers saying they weren't going to do? Take care of women that they didn't have any obligations to. So women were beginning to face hard times along with men, and even more so because while men might lean on each other, these ladies they could not lean on ladies because none of the ladies could now lean on the men upon whom they were leaning. Simps were drying up. They're not completely gone, but the reserves are drying up. And simps didn't have everything they had before. Sorry. I'm still recovering. This throat is killing me. And I'm going to stop recording soon because it's starting to hurt again. And in case I forgot to mention this, I want to thank the CashApp donors, Shanna and Gayle at night. So I can't remember if I mentioned it in this copy or one of the other times I've deleted it so far. So, I had to explain to him that this was due to the gender fighting conflict in the States. That she was looking for a lick any way she could get it. And she had to call this guy's friend because she knew if she called a Western man, she was more than likely going to be snubbed. And they were going to say, well, what's in it for me? And she wasn't ready to pay. Saudis are very generous. And if you are nice to them and you ask them for help, they help. I give that to them. She must have seen this and picked up on it and took advantage. Because as we know, Western sisters take kindness for weakness. And that's one of the reasons why I tell you all, do not try to make them know that you're not a chump or anything like that. Just simply be kind to people that are kind to you, and don't be kind to Western sisters if you don't know them well enough. I tell you that because they take kindness for weakness every time. And they're proud of it. That's why I say what I said. You can't convince them anyway. And they're looking for a reason to say that you're weak so that they can try to take advantage more comfortably. Then they'll convince themselves and psych themselves up no matter what boundaries you set. And if you're not scary to them, then, if you don't frighten them somehow, you can't set boundaries except by leaving them alone. You can't be around them but have boundaries. You have to be away from them, and those are your boundaries. The gender war had a Saudi casualty, one of which I know, because my student told me about it, and I had to tell him the context of it. We're going to see it come over here too. I told you, gentlemen, the effort must be in educating and informing other men from these traditional areas of the world as to what the conflict is. That must be a priority and a goal. Because if we don't do that, then this is going to catch more men unaware who don't deserve to be caught unaware by this. This is not the time to go ADOS gangbanging. This is the time to tell traditional men in general what is going to be snuck in under their noses if we don't tell them about it. My throat is starting to hurt me, so I'm done. As always, thank you for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power. Just because they don't like it, a black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Again, shouts out and thanks to those who came through on the Cash App. And as this plane docks at the gate, please click on the link to the merchandise in the description and get you some merchandise. But that takes priority over punching the CashApp button and punching any numbers that might be easy for you later on. Thank you again for flying with us here on Jet Black Airways, where Jet Black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. And also, feel free to go into my About page and find the link to my new Blacktreon, which I'm waiting on them to approve. And join that too. This month it's only 6. The next month will be a full month, so it's going to go up to 10. Gender justice forever.